Hello, and welcome to the Thyroid Warrior podcast. I'm Ebony, and I'm here as your wellness facilitator. I'm going to be sharing my experiences in managing Hashimoto's disease. I really hope that it'll help you on your personal journey. Keep in mind, however, this does not substitute for medical advice. It is only for your information and motivational purposes only. Now, let's get started. Hello, everyone. I am so happy for this week, and I'm also really excited because I really want to talk about one topic that is near and dear to my heart and something that I think is pretty important to a lot of people, particularly women, and that is our hair. One of the things that I have learned throughout this thyroid journey that I have been on is I didn't realize how many things your thyroid gland controls, and B, I didn't recognize how important my hair was to me. Now, as crazy as that sounds, it's something to really think about and something that is really, really necessary to talk about. And here's a story of how I really became to recognize just how much your thyroid gland controls hair loss and hair growth. And I was at the University of Minnesota in 2009, and I was doing research and I was having a great time. I was in Lake Itasca, Minnesota for 6 weeks. I was doing research, I was doing projects, I was learning, I was growing, and everything was fun. I was playing outside and actually a little afraid of the bears that were out there as well as the porcupines. I had never seen a porcupine until Lake Itasca, Minnesota, but I digress. Anyhow, we returned back to the city a couple weeks later and I started feeling off. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but the vertigo started again and I was just really fuzzy. And I know that that's not a very descriptive term, but everything just went downhill really quickly. And one of the biggest things that I noticed in particular was when I would run my hands through my hair, I started gathering more and more hair in my hand as the time went on. And I said, that's really interesting. What I also noticed is that I was getting more and more fatigued over time. The sun started to bother me. My head started to hurt more. I started getting more and more GI issues, and I just didn't understand what was going on. So I started spending a lot of time at the health center and just trying to understand what the problem was and what was going on. What made it worse is that every day, more and more hair started to fall out. And fortunately, I have a lot of hair. My hair is really, really thick, but I started noticing a difference and I couldn't understand why my hair continued to thin. I also started to have a hard time because I noticed that other hair on my body started to thin as well, particularly the hair on my legs. Now, you may be saying, well, what's wrong with the hair on your legs disappearing? That's every girl's dream. But when you're not expecting it, then it becomes a little bit more alarming. And I started asking the doctor this whenever I would see them and say like, hey, my hair is falling out. Other hair is falling out. What is this? Like, I'm not going through like a 21-year-old midlife, quarter life crisis. I don't understand. And of course, they're like, well, you are in a really intense program and perhaps, you're just really stressed out and this is how your body is dealing with the stress. And that started my slight feistiness because your body. There's not one person that can tell me, when something's strange about my body. And this journey really taught me to trust myself and my instincts. And I started to recognize what was happening. And sure enough, a couple weeks later, I find out that I have a virus. Again, I'm not sure what brought that virus on. I just know that I would have moments of where I couldn't even remember how I got back to my room. There would be times where I would wake up the next day not understanding what happened. Just, it was insane. Fast forward to when I went back to Detroit. I went to an endocrinologist because remember, I got diagnosed while I was in Minnesota. And I'm talking to this endocrinologist like, hey, my hair is falling out. Is that normal? And she's like, oh yeah, that's totally normal in thyroid patients. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I just, So I started to piece together bit by bit information from my new endocrinologist, from what I had read online, and I felt silly because when I actually finally started doing my research, I was like, oh, come on. It's one of the main symptoms when you look up hyperthyroidism. But one of the other things was that when I started my thyroid medication, my hair continued to fall out. So at this point, I'm like, wait. I'm supposed to be on medication. Everything is supposed to be perfect. Not so much. However, I said, well, I do chemically process my hair. I do have a perm. It's meant to straighten my hair. Perhaps that has something to do with it. So naturally, what do? I cut all my hair off. I just cut it off. I was like, I'm really not sure if it's the medication, if it's my thyroid, if it's the chemicals, and I'm a poor college student, so I really can't go get my hair done all the time. I had no idea what it was. So I was like, off with my hair, just cut it all off. What I did not recognize in that time, however, was how difficult it was to maintain short hair. Now you might say, wait a minute, short hair is great, it's fun, it's easy, but I wasn't quite used to that because my hair was shoulder length and, I was used to that. But again, I was a poor college student at an all-women's college, and for a minute, I just didn't care. So it was a little easier. And fortunately, I did not meet my husband in college, so that made everything better. However, I'm happy-go-lucky about a lot of things in life, but what also gave me pause during this time was I thought at different moments and times that because my hair was falling out, I was like, oh my gosh, am I going to go bald? I had started noticing slight bald spots in my scalp at the time, and I really started to question my beauty. And for some of you, I know that, everyone has a different thought process, a different idea of what beauty is. But for me, my hair was really cool because one, I have reddish brown hair. And it's thick and it's coily and it's kinky. And I actually really love my hair despite how difficult it is to manage a lot of times. But, I would go out and naturally when I got nervous, I kind of played in my hair. And it's really awkward being out with people and you're trying to figure out how to hide the hair that came out in your hand. And that happened a lot. So I had to train myself to stop playing in my hair as much. And I really had to talk myself out of that constant question of, am I beautiful? If I lose all my hair, then what? Because naturally, you start thinking the worst. You're like, okay, well, if my hair on my head is falling out and the hair in other places is falling out, well, will I be attractive still? Will people still be interested in me? Like, that was a real struggle at times, and it gave me a different perspective, particularly about women that have alopecia, and men for that matter, and just that struggle, particularly cancer patients as they're going through that. And there were times where I would literally break down because I'm like, man, if I'm struggling like this and it's clumps of hair, I have to not be dramatic and say, oh my God, all my hair is falling out. But for those that actually struggle with that, my word, my heart goes out to every person that is losing their hair, whether it's age-related, whether it's hormonal, whether it's due to cancer, whether it's due to an autoimmune condition. Like, I just want to wrap my arms around all of you. But one of the most important things that I realized as a result of this journey was I'm not my hair. I'm not the physical standards of beauty that society often places on us as women. I'm more than that. I am me. I'm quirky, I'm weird, I'm awkward. I love to laugh. I love to make other people. And if I don't have any hair, there are weaves, there are extensions, clip-ons, wigs, whatever you want to call it. They're out there. And I actually did wear a lot of those. I still wear wigs now because, hey, it's easier. And two, because I have that thought in the back of my mind about hair loss and taking better care of. It's so important for us, especially as women, to lift each other up and to support each other. And I had so many people during this time tell me, it's okay. If you lose your hair, so what? You're still the same Ebony. You're still the same person. You still love the exact same way that you loved before you lost your hair. There is nothing wrong with you in terms of your mind and your mental capacity. So don't associate yourself with just your hair. This topic really it's near and dear to my heart as well, because I often had really bad body image issues growing up, particularly as a Black woman. Often I was made fun of because of my hair, or, my mother would tell me, hey, you need to perm your hair because it's not straight enough, or it's not that, or it's not this. And I really, especially now, embrace every single. What I really want you all to focus on is being a whole, healthy, and happy person. Because there's nothing worse than trying to fit into the mold that society has placed upon you. I really encourage you all, particularly if you are starting to lose your hair, pay attention to that. One of the things that I did, and I researched, I tried to make sure that I understood, okay, is my medicine causing part of my hair loss? What can I do to help my hair grow back? And naturally, food is medicine. And I started looking up as much as I could on how to promote hair growth, whether it was biotin or collagen, or making sure I was getting that protein in that I needed. I started exercising more regularly just because I wanted to be right mentally and physically, because I am more than just the hair on my head. I want to be strong. I want it to be able to withstand the negative thoughts that I was putting in my mind. So I made sure that I got mentally and physically strong. And boy, oh boy, did I enjoy. Scalp massages are amazing. And if you can afford it, go for it. And it's really good to stimulate your scalp. Groupon was my best friend, and Living Social, I loved all of them, because if I couldn't go and afford a super duper expensive massage, I would just politely go and look on Groupon or Living Social to see if I could find one at a discounted price. And even if it meant I did it every couple of months, that is what I did to take care of myself. And I fell asleep quite a bit. So there may have been a time where the masseuse didn't even have to do anything, but in my head, it was amazing. The other thing is, talk to your doctor, especially when you're newly diagnosed, just so that you understand what to expect. A lot of times they are so willing, ready, and able to help you understand what's going on. And it's super important, if you have a med student come in to see you first, kind of talk out those things and say, hey, do you have any patient education on this? And 9 times out of 10, they can provide that for you. Your nurse can provide that for you. Just really, really, really make sure that you ask those questions, because you have people that really want to help you. And if you don't have that relationship with your physician, it's okay. You can always check out any of the Thyroid Foundation websites. They have patient education on their website. You can look up thyroid diseases and hair loss and hair growth. And there's a lot of information out there that can really, really help you. I started noticing a difference right away when I took a hair, skin, and nail vitamin. My nails were very brittle and fragile, and so was my hair. So I just needed a little boost. And once I started taking those vitamins, I started noticing a difference in a couple of weeks, and I was super happy. I also had to get better at taking care of my hair. So when I wash my hair, I use a wide tooth comb, and I am really gentle when I'm washing my scalp and making sure that I'm not scratching my scalp or, just being too aggressive. When I dry my hair, I use a t-shirt instead of a towel, because it's a lot more gentle on my hair, because your hair is very weak when it's wet. So I really try to be conscious of those things. And you also have to be careful when it comes to vitamins as well, because a lot of times they do have iodine in it, and that can definitely interfere with your thyroid hormones and your medication and all that stuff. So you really want to read the labels and make sure that you're getting as much information as you possibly can. And lastly, just if you are supposed to go to the doctor every 6 months or whatever the time frame is from when you get your diagnosis, make sure you stay on top of that, and definitely talk to your doctor and understand what your normal is. A lot of times you'll see the reference range for your thyroid levels, and that, even though what your labs say may be quote unquote normal, it might not be normal for you. So you might have to talk to your doctor and keep a journal or a log about what your thyroid levels are, and take note of how you're feeling when you go in to get your levels checked. So let's recap. First of all, you are more than just your hair. You are more than just your physical appearance. You are beautiful inside and out, and I never ever want you to forget that. That is the first thing. The second thing is, when you're on this journey and you're noticing that hair loss, touch base with your doctor. Make sure you're getting your labs done. Make sure that you're starting to understand what your normal is for your thyroid levels. Food. Make sure that you're eating a balanced diet. Make sure that you're getting biotin and collagen. And you definitely want to be very, very cautious of how much iodine you're getting. And that goes into my next point about taking a hair, skin, and nail vitamin. Again, make sure that you're checking to see if you have iodine in those supplements. So you gotta be careful because you don't want that to interfere with your medication. 5, exercise. It really makes a difference. It really gets everything going, and it helps throughout that process. The 6th thing is a scalp massage, and a full body massage won't hurt. If you get a full body massage, just ask to have a scalp massage. Make sure that you aren't coming fresh from getting your hair done or going to the salon, because you might be a little upset, because they definitely will work your scalp and make you feel warm and fuzzy inside. And the 7th thing is definitely make sure that you're gentle with your hair. Don't tug and pull on it all the time. If you're the type of person like myself that likes to change your hairstyle a lot, just be conscious of what you're doing. Like I said, I use a wide tooth comb when I'm washing my hair. I use a t-shirt to dry my hair off. Even when I blow dry my hair, I blow dry it to an extent and then I let it air. I know that all of this can be a lot and really overwhelming, but you're going to be able to do it. You can do this. You can get through it. You are beautiful. You are powerful, and you are strong. And I know that while it may seem discouraging, it may seem frustrating, it may feel like you just want to cry, because just losing your hair is just something that really, really can get to you, to the core of who you are. But I'm here to tell you, after 10 years, it comes back. It grows back. And if it doesn't, there are weaves, there are clip-on extensions, and there are other really jazzy, snazzy things that you can do to your hair that will make everything all good. So, be well, friends, and take care. I love you. I care for you. And if you have nothing else to think about this. You are more than enough, and everything is going to be just fine. Take care, guys. Okay, Thyroid Warriors. Get out there and take things one step at a time. Remember, be great, reflect on your triumphs, and as always, be well. Take care.